could be used against us in court. But luckily we
How do you
have
like my new tan?
your new what?
Tan, look.
Yeah,
White
you are
here,
10.
white here, red here, brown red. Let's say brown. It's like red. It's like the got that native. That's, I shouldn't say that.
That's actually a good topic that we could talk about. I, so where I live now, they made it not illegal, but the state, New York State, has refused to fund uh, any school that has a Native American name. I'm not even kidding. So
What means like it means they don't like Native Americans?
it means we're not allowed to mention them, I guess, because maybe the state thinks that they're not being racist by ignoring them. I don't know, but the high school that I went to, the name of the school is named after an Indian tribe, and then the mascot is Indians. So like when I played sports, on the football helmet, it was like a tomahawk or something on the helmet, the sticker.
Yeah.
A few years ago, the school spent millions of dollars to renovate, because the school's like 100 years old. They put a new football field with like a Native American logo, and they did a huge sports hall of fame with all these different symbols of, like, Native American culture, which they're probably stereotypes, but New York State just announced that they will refuse funding to these schools, don't remove all of it. So now the school has to spend like over $1 million to like erase that from
Yeah, I'm confused because I thought it's like good to be Native American now. I thought
I
it's
know that.
like if you're Native
Yeah.
American, you will get like social benefits and shit probably. But it
Yeah.
seems no. This is not for they maybe were confused for 1 year, thinking maybe we start respecting Native Americans again. But now you think no, let's better not mention them.
Listen,
Let's
there is one school in New York State, like upstate New York, where it's more country, let's say, and the local tribe um, has publicly stated that they want to keep their name on the school.
yeah.
So, but my, but most of the towns where I live are named after Indian tribes. So like almost all the towns have
Where
some.
where do you live then? I
I
didn't
live
know.
on, I live on Long Island. It's um, uh, part of New York
I
City is
thought you
on
are
Long
like
Island,
on Staten Island.
not Staten Island, Long Island, and it's let's say east of Manhattan. Long Island it's Brooklyn, Queens. That's part of New York City, and then two other counties that are not part of New York City, but almost all the towns are named after Indian names, Native American names.
Oh, so you live
I,
on the Long Island. I'm
yeah.
looking now on the fucking.
I
So I'm
hope you're not
looking New
looking at the
York,
weather.
right?
The weather's not good today. I was supposed
So
to go
wait,
fishing.
Long Island. The Brooklyn is part of Long Island.
Yeah, but people in Brooklyn
Wow,
don't know that. They think
fuck!
that
I'm
they're
learning. So
yeah,
you live like far away on the east side of Long Island.
not far. I live about 2 or 3 miles from the New York City line. So I don't know.
So
That's like
I'm looking
49.
Garden City, no?
Very close to
Bayshore,
Garden
no?
City. Very close to Garden
Close.
City. Yeah, Garden City is one
Westbury.
of the few. I'm in between Garden City and Westbury, actually. So
Wow, I nailed this.
my
I
town,
looked
yeah,
I looked at the
my
map
town
and I
is
was
named
like Garden
after.
City, that's where Joe lives.
Yeah, my town is named after an Indian tribe, a Native American tribe, whatever you want to call it. And the name of the mascot for the town, it's the Chiefs. But they have to get rid of that because it has a connotation to Native Americans. So they'll have to spend all this money to like remove their statues and plaques and
Wow.
signs and stuff. So
Is it because
a
they want to be like so politically correct that like mentioning Native Americans is like bad as the
that's right. Yep, that's
distinguish
exactly.
on? So they are Americans, they are not native. Is it because of that? That's
I
how
think
they
that they
want.
don't want people to think about them at all as human beings. I don't know. I really don't know that.
Right.
I don't know, understand the point because they're going to eventually have to change all the town names because there's probably like 50 or 100
Yeah.
towns named after Indians. Like
There is not many of them left, regardless, right?
one of my friends in elementary school was his father was uh, pretty sure he was a Cherokee. So he came into the school and he showed us all these different like artifacts from his culture, talked about like like their version of religion and all this stuff, and it was very interesting. It was, I think I was in second grade. I still remember it, and now that's not allowed, I guess. So,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
very strange.
Should we should we shout out our sponsor for our two guests
Yeah, yeah,
today?
yeah. Let's mention the today's sponsors.
Look
You
at
might
this.
Kado money.
Socks.
Sorry,
And I
Kado
came up with
song.
a slogan. I came up with a slogan for
Mm.
them because they didn't really sponsor. They just gave me these socks.
Can I have
Um,
socks as well? That's not fair. I
it's
know
not
I
fair.
made one video that was bad about them, but I got my ID now,
I
so
saw
I can finally register account in the tax
I,
heaven,
I saw that
so I
video.
can start using them. I don't care, but like, give me the socks.
I, so do you want to hear the slogan that I came up with for Kato? I'm
Yeah.
gonna help all these crypto companies every week with their marketing. Ready? Um, you'll never be geo blocked if you're wearing Kato socks. That's gonna be my because I can't use Kato in New York even though they're based here. So
Oh
uh,
right, is it on the all US? You cannot use.
I think everywhere in the U.S. except New York, which is where the team is.
Interesting. You can do everything here where I am,
Well,
and what's best, I always say to people that's like strategic move because there is no extradition treaty between Hong Kong and US. I think they had, but they stopped them. Actually, there is only like 5 countries with extradition treaties. Like, if I commit heavy crime back in my home country, I can go Hong Kong and I'm safe.
that's interesting. Is it because they
Mhm.
don't acknowledge the crime, or they want to?
Well,
Like,
it's because of the protest that happened a few years ago. Many
yeah,
countries that had I think Poland maybe didn't have, but there was like 20 something countries that had extradition treaties with Hong Kong. Sorry for that. And after the protest, those countries many abandoned. So US doesn't have extradition, UK doesn't have, Canada like they I think they used to have. And there's like 5 of them. Like, I think there is an extradition treaty between like Singapore and Hong Kong, and like I don't even. I think they even stopped between Korea and Hong Kong. So it's like amazing place. You can do anything now, um, and you won't be extradited. So, and
interesting,
there
interesting. So
was
what?
like, government was saying it's not because of the because they wanted to push the extradition treaty like with all the countries, like including China, and and people assume this is for political reasons. So if you commit political crimes in Hong Kong, you can be extradited to China. So there was protests, and the government, as the example for the protest, used the case of the Hong Kong man and his pregnant girlfriend. I think they traveled to Taiwan. He murdered her in Taiwan. He came back to Hong Kong and he walked free because there was no extradition treaty between Taiwan and Hong Kong. So it was quite confusing situation. And then the Hong Kong locked him up for like 12 months or something for the tax fraud, because you need to also understand that every Hong Kong person is tax fraud. So it's quite easy to make the arrest for the tax frauds in case you committed the crime that they cannot arrest you for. They will always arrest you for a tax fraud because everyone is tax fraud in Hong Kong.
Well, for the people that are here or people that just joined us, you just missed about 9 minutes of not only financial advice but life advice, how to escape murders. And now we know why Don's in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I have not murdered anyone.
So basically, if you go
Well,
to Cosmoverse and you do something like really messed up, like whatever, supply narcotics to a dev that ends up overdosing or crashing a car into like a whole family of people, you just go to Hong Kong and you're good.
let me see, because maybe they're loosening this now again. So yeah, they loosening with some. So there is extradition treaty in force with Czech Republic. So there is a gateway to Cosmos. Unfortunately, I cannot commit the crime. India, Indonesia in force. Oh, Korea is in force. Malaysia is in force. Shit.
Yeah,
It wasn't like this. Suddenly they loosened in Sri Lanka, South Africa, Singapore, Portugal, Philippines, in force.
let's scratch that then. No, the extradition
And that's
treaties.
it. That's it essentially. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 countries. But remember, we have like around 200 countries. You can freely commit the crimes in 190 countries in the world, come back to Hong Kong and be a free man.
Any crypto crimes there that are being prosecuted at all? Like I know in the United States, they usually wait for a catastrophe. Like I think a bunch of people have to lose like millions and millions of dollars before the laws get enforced, and they're probably making them up as they go along. But any anything in Hong Kong being pursued?
I'm checking if SBF is prosecuted in Hong Kong or not. Uh,
And Crypto Tank
because
is
like
saying
you
that
don't
we're
hear anything because FTX was actually registered for like 3 years in Hong Kong, and surely there was a crime, and I never heard about them being prosecuted locally. So it's very loose. I would say it's very
right.
loose. You can come operate whatever you want and just enjoy your operations.
Well, I didn't spend enough time in Hong Kong to decide if I could live there or not, but I'm sure. I mean, from an outsider, if you go to Seoul and you go to Hong Kong, it's just a big city, right? So I guess you can get by. You'll always find people that can speak English and help you out. Food is just
Yeah.
food in Asia is just superior to any other place that I've been. So you'll be okay with food. You might not be able to identify all of it when you first get there, but I don't know, man. I always felt good eating Asian food when I was over there.
The problem is like, it's limited, but you have everything. Like, so you have mountains, you have coast,
right.
but it's still small place. So if you prosecute it all around the world, but not in Hong Kong, it's not really comfortable it's better to not commit too many crimes maybe around the world, because I think it still sucks if you in one place. I think US is different because you don't have to leave US to have fun. You bored with New York, you want to gamble, go to Vegas,
Right.
right? You want to go to take trunk, you travel to Kensington, right? You want to go coke, you go down to Florida, right? You want to go see homeless, you go to San Francisco. Like, you
Yeah.
have this diversity in US, right? So you don't really have to leave. So it's still, like, I think, nicer because you have a lot of choice of things to do.
You know, I most people that live in the U.S., at least on the East Coast, probably have never left the country except to go to like one or two Caribbean countries, but they just go to a resort
Yeah.
with a bunch of other Americans that have like the same food and everything that they have in wherever they came from, right? Like if you go to a resort in the Caribbean, what are you going to eat? Hamburgers, wings, pasta. You have all that where you live. A real vacation to me is you just show up with no reservations. You have like a carry-on bag, and then you have to like haggle for a hotel with some like 14-year-old kid who picks you up on a motorbike. Like, hey, bring me somewhere where I'm not going to get killed in the street. And then you get there, and then you just walk around all day and you find stuff, and then you stay there for like a couple weeks, and then you feel like you live there. I think that's the ideal vacation for me. That's what I used to do. I would just show up. I showed up in Vietnam like that, no reservation. I showed up in Hong Kong with no
Yeah.
reservation.
So we did like this in Sri Lanka. Like, I'm more comfy, so I wanted to book stuff, but they were like, no. So we would take the train, drop in one station, and you walk in the city and you ask them, like, do you have rooms? And they, yeah, how much? And they're like, they will tell you the price. And you're like, okay, we see feather. And all like 2 weeks in Sri Lanka we did like this, not a single booking. And it was great fun. And sometimes someone picks you up, oh, I have rooms, and they take you, right? And they drive you and they drive you
Yeah.
to their friends, or they receive the card. And I say, like, it's regular people hosting. They have some rooms, so they put you in the room. It's very cheap, you have fun. Of course, you don't have aircon and shit, Uh,
what I like about a lot of the hotels I stayed in, that like in hindsight I probably should have not done this. They just take your passport. Like there's no like deposit. Like in the United States, they usually charge your credit card like $200
yeah.
in case you damage something in the room. But
Hmm.
in Asia, they take your passport.
Yeah, even for the motorbike, you rent the
I
motorbike,
I
which is
did
like worthless. Yeah, give us your passport,
I
and you
I
give the
did that, and
passport. And
I crashed on the motorbike, and when I returned the motorbike, my hands were bleeding, and I was just like, please, just give me my passport back. The guy looked at me, looked at the bike, and it was like, I don't know, maybe like a $5 or $10 rental for the day. He just gave me my passport back. I was bleeding from my hands, and
yeah,
there was no problem.
so yeah, it's funny because you don't even know these people. It's like random dude on the street with like broken flip flops,
Yeah,
and you're
that's
like,
exactly, or like a 14-year-old kid
I
who's like,
I crashed on the bike in the Thai island. So sorry for, and I the finger like come this way, right? So I went to like little what was it? I think it was like something, not Koh Samui. I think it was Koh Phangan, maybe.
oh, I was there.
Anyway,
I'm trying to think if that's where I crashed the motorbike too. I think I was in
so
Koh Tao when I crashed my motorbike. Koh Tao.
uh so let's, and yeah, so I was away for a few hours and then returned the bike, and they just look at the bike and they're like, yeah, look, okay,
Yeah.
no need to pay anything, right? It maybe some scratch is not a problem.
I think the
So
biggest difference between Asia and the United States is that when you go to a place, you can't tell if the people are actually working there or if they're customers that just hanging out in the shop, because they don't actually work. Sometimes they're sleeping. Sometimes they just like
yeah,
are sitting on the floor eating and ignoring you, and it's very strange. Like you could go into a place, it could be a travel agent, and you want to book a flight, you want to book a hotel, and there's just like a hammock and the person's sleeping in the hammock, and you're like, oh, I guess I'll just come back, because people are not really working. They just hang out at a shop all day, and they could take your
yeah,
money.
that's
Yeah,
that's exactly the impression, like same like in Bali or whatever, like you go for the, and there is the person sleeping outside, right? And you don't know if you should wake them up or not because it's hot. So like they sleep all day.
that's
They're
right.
actually extremely lazy. They're
Yes. Oh,
extremely
yes.
lazy people.
And then you're like,
They don't work. Like you want something from them, give them like some money and like, but otherwise they sleep and chill all day.
yeah. I've been in shops where the people, there's like 4 or 5 people that are supposed to be working, and they're just sitting on the floor eating. And you walk in, and they look at you, and they just continue to eat. Like they're like, no, no, we're eating. We don't care how much money you're going to give us for this service. You just either come back, and what's funny is usually the way some of these cities are set up, one street has like 10 of the same exact kind of shop, right? So you would think they'd be competing for business. They just don't care at all. It's
Yeah,
extreme. I would say it's extreme laziness. If if you're an American or whatever, and you want to go somewhere and automatically be the number one business at something, it would probably take a couple of days to just be like, just put a sign like, we're working here, or we will serve you, or number one restaurant. People will just go.
and also the parents are most lazy because sometimes if someone needs to work and the child is like 12, like you go serve them because I'm having a nap here.
That's right. The kids are working. That's right. So, and
Yeah, so there's
look what
like,
Tank said. It sounds like Cosmos.
I wanted to say it does sound like I wanted to go to is because like how you check the development of the countries is essentially the productivity dollar, right? So you have the countries like, I don't know, fucking like, let's throw like Norwegia or something, right? They're like produce $120 per person an hour or something, production value,
Right. Right.
right? In Asia you have like $1 production value, whatever it is. And it's like that. I think it got wrong. Like, so I was listening to Lex Friedman interview with Netanyahu, right? And I'm watching this and I said, like, that's the president. Like, or is he president or prime minister?
I
Anyway,
think he
he's
was like,
alpha.
I think he was president like 3 different times and had his presidency interrupted because he'll lose
He's been
and then
like
just
6 times a prime minister, prime minister.
whatever. They're all I don't believe that they're all dictators, whether you call yourself
Yeah.
a president or what. Like in the
But
United
I was
States,
listening to him,
you're a
and
dictator.
I didn't finish, and I was like, he's good, right? Alpha, and he sit there and talk about the you want to produce, with this masculine voice,
Yeah.
that you want to produce more with less, right? Like, and it got me thinking, because that's the developed country want to, acceleration, produce more with less manpower, while in Cosmos we're scaling differently, right? Produce less. We have, I was thinking, like, so there is this graph that people show that Cosmos is like second on or third in the developers,
What a
right?
crock of shit that is. That's such
but
bullshit.
but being like so far away in the users and stuff, and I was thinking, are we the third world country? Like, here are we? Because even when you think, what's the best security model, right? ICS probably not. Maybe L2s has good because they use Ethereum. But if you want most, you choose the large asset and minimum payment, right? But Cosmos is like, no, we're gonna do mesh security. We're gonna get $120 million market cap chains, and the cost of security will be $100 million a year. This is how we work, and we incentivize it all. And each of these chain will have 5 users and 200 developers.
So here's a tweet from our friend Max, and touching on exactly what you're talking about right now, that there seems to be, and maybe this is just me being ignorant, there seems to be way more paid developers and teams and infrastructure companies in Cosmos than there are actual functioning products. I don't know if you've noticed this, or maybe I'm ignorant.
It is, as I said, it is okay. We just contrarians in Cosmos. You must understand.
Oh,
We don't go
innovators,
with
innovators.
produce more for less. Let's produce less for
Do you
more.
remember one of our first conversations was about community pools? And I was thinking last week, I said, you know what? I'm looking at my portfolio, and I'm a loser in every single position that has a community pool. And I'm, despite buying the market top on Bitcoin and Ethereum, I'm way ahead. I'm way in the green. So maybe there's a correlation between community pools and price performance. Like the absence of community pools seems to be, there seems to be a floor on the price, right? Bitcoin has had almost like a flash crash below 20,000. No community pool.
Weird,
It's
right?
actually tied to a real world asset such as energy, right? It's just amazing. And all these community pools, especially for tokens that only trade on AMMs, because this weird backwards thinking in Cosmos is it's great if your assets are not traded on centralized exchanges.
So we don't have the market makers. That's the best. Yeah, that's the
So there's nowhere to sell these
yeah.
tokens that you get from the community pool. But yeah, I was watching Sonny's talk from Cosmoverse, and he was talking about how I don't know if he was talking about Osmo specifically or another token. And he's like, and isn't it great that these tokens are not on centralized exchanges? I think that's great. And I was like, this is the guy. This is the guy that all of our hopes and dreams rest on. The only good product besides Stargaze and Cosmos is Osmosis right now. And this guy's like, no centralized exchanges. We're good. Cosmos canceled centralized exchanges.
Yeah, like this is so regarding Sunny,
And I'm gonna disagree with this right here. We'll get into this in a second after Don comments.
this is Cedric the
Yeah.
Narwhal. So Yeah, so about the Sunny, right? You enter the cosmos, and I was like, this is 21-year-old prodigy. And because if you listen to him like even few years ago, he made more sense than he makes now. I wonder if among devs there is like a very high peak and also very fast the intellectual degradation, right? Um, but regardless, he was even like saying that he wants Osmo to not be on centralized exchanges and majority of liquidity. But the actually only reason the atom price, like, and I said that stays flat
I
is
agree.
because of the centralized exchanges and market makers. So if you have important token like the token, that whole ecosystem depends should remain as flat as possible. But in his ideology, is like, no, it's absolutely okay if it crashes 90%. It's fucking not okay. I'm sorry. Like,
It's not okay. Yeah. And here's the other
we,
thing. And Cedric's talking about diversifying community pools. All of the people who launch a token, launch a chain, I don't care about vesting schedules. They get paid up front. So they get to sell at least some of their tokens because we don't know if they're airdropping it to themselves. They might have massive Atom wallets, they airdrop, they sell that, and then they have their vesting tokens that are being used to uh, liquidity farm, right? Or whatever you want to call it, farming tokens. And they're selling those rewards. As they're selling out of Genesis wallets or whatever, the community pool should automatically get diversified, right? But the fact that these genius founders are able to sell their tokens and they're not even paying attention to what's being held in the community pool or
well,
treasury, that's a red flag in hindsight.
if you diversify, that's often additional selling pressure, and you don't want
Of
that.
course. Well, not
You
if you're
don't
trying
want
to
that.
sell.
You
Also, you're
want
trying to
all the
front run.
selling pressure for
Yeah.
yourself.
But here's the
Just
thing:
very.
you should.
By the way, I think Tank is here. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So this is very because Tank got sponsored by Kujira, right? And I also like it got me the thought because now Tank is paid shield essentially. We
For
must
who?
agree on that,
For
right?
Cosmos or for Juno?
For Kujira.
Oh, Tank's a paid shill also. I'm an unpaid
Yeah.
shill for Kuji.
Did you too?
I like Kuji. I'm going to start. I was going
Yeah,
to discuss my.
I got nice number of tokens from the founder. So me too. But I wanted to mention Tank first.
Is that number a zero that you got from them?
No, like it's nice number. Like
Oh,
seriously,
good.
like I was like that's why I mean you should talk. You should talk, and we should establish the Kuji Shield community and make it the most successful chain because it. But example, right? Like I don't know what Tank received, probably a little bit, right? And quite likely by many people he will be like I'm being called Stargaze Shield because I'm employed. Like Juno Nauts call me, oh, he's employed by Stargaze, right? Which is very funny because the founders would allocate to themselves millions of dollars, went on shilling the token, but they are not paid shillers. They're they're heroes of the community, like
Yeah.
which is absolutely insane, right? Like these are literally $1 million paid shield. The founders are
Yeah.
paid shields, but for millions of dollars.
I think I find it like hilarious that the Genesis allocations are like they're like, well, we airdropped 40% of the supply to the community. Yeah, big deal. And then 5 people got 20% of the supply. Like, who cares? Can you imagine? Can you imagine like what goes through their minds? There can't be a person with 1% of the supply, but they think
Yeah,
it's okay for 5 people to have 20%. It's really amazing. It's amazing.
yeah.
Is that true? Is that true? 500 a month for what?
For nothing,
To
dude.
to talk. He's lying.
How about let the Cedric sponsor this podcast? $200, $50 per episode. What do you think? Is it too cheap? $200 a month?
Oh,
Fifty dollars an episode sponsorship?
I'm gonna fud Kujira so bad.
Now you
I
want
don't.
that 500, right? You just need to speak to that.
Well, I be Dove is ghosting me. He's
Is
ghosting me
it? I
after
will I will talk to Dove.
I made that video. Dove is ghosting me, and I was going to talk today about. I'm thinking about. I haven't bought any Cosmos assets since before. Okay, people in the chat probably heard me say this before, but maybe you didn't. I haven't bought any Cosmos assets since I watched Cosmoverse in October. I thought it was an absolute horrific train wreck of a conference.
Mhm.
People, it was just, it was like being on another planet. I stopped buying and I increased my Bitcoin DCA. The only thing I've done is buy and
So you
sell.
mean it was great investment advice, the Cosmoverse? It
If you
pushed you
really paid
to.
attention, it pushed you to Bitcoin. And and I was thinking about now starting a DCA, and I'm like, what do I want to buy? I think that the original Cosmos tokens, aside from Atom, are just, I think they're failed experiments in the literal sense. I don't see anything interesting about those original tokens. You know, I like the products. I like um, Osmosis and Stargaze. I like, but the next generation tokens, which I consider to be Kajira, Migaloo, Nolus, Archway, and maybe I'm missing a couple. They looked at how bad the performance was of the other assets, and they made some adjustments. I was thinking about DCAing them.
So
Damn it. Well, here's the problem.
the
Now
reason why I like
Tank
Kujira,
just
number
realized
one.
I don't watch his live streams in a couple weeks, so now I'm ousted.
So the first reason why I like Kujira because of the gift from Dove, right? But the other reason is they have very small TVL. Is it 7 or 10, right? And it's like 80, 90 or close to $100 million market cap, which is, but they have big variety of products. So if you look at Kujira, you could maybe assume that they are overvalued in comparison to something else. But the token doesn't dump because it's not like obviously first as liquid and doesn't have inflation. But the other thing is they have the by far largest community and most down to earth like people who are involved into this in case we hit the bull market, in case, which might not happen, right? The shilling intensifies, right? And the devs don't perform very interesting shilling. And as Kujira shilling could intensify, it could blow like Luna, maybe, right? I don't want to be overly bullish, but in the simple thinking, what people want, some people don't understand. What people want, they want gambling, they want money, they don't care about anything else. And I think that's what Luna gave them, right?
Yes.
And now I'm thinking Luna was the real community. I didn't know the Luna community before. I actually got into that community months ago, right? Like I see Coach Bruce, I see some others. They are substantially more fun than any Cosmos accounts. And that got me thinking, like, how did it happen, right? And I think the Kujira might receive it in case even.
I was talking to Sencom from Migaloo yesterday, and I said, I was never really involved with Terra, but now I realize the builders coming over from Terra are way more serious than what we have in Cosmos. I feel like the Cosmos devs, they're kind of like retired on the job, right? But then you have these, whether it be Kajira, Migaloo, even Loop is building. For whatever you want to say about Loop, they're actually building stuff, right? And the problem was Juno just overpaid for it, right? They should have done a better job allocating that money. But
I don't think they necessarily. I think Loop is like it's it's a grift,
it could
right?
be,
That's
it could very well be, or it could just be that's the way of crypto, is that you know there's a 1 in 10 chance of your spend returning, an
it's
investment.
just grifters. They go and ask for money, and that's how they function. They don't care about users. I
But you know
heard they
what
actually didn't have. I heard the Loop wasn't very much liked on Terra. Like all the Terra people that came to tell me anything about Loop, they said like Loop was never about anything but marketing.
That's okay.
They never had any product really. So but shit, what I wanted to
I want to talk.
um
I,
yeah, like the actually when you go to event, your brain get faded. Like I had this event in Hong Kong here and everyone is very nice, and when you drink beer with someone, have the dinner, it changes everything. Be like, oh, you are a good guy, you are a good guy.
I
But
agree.
it's also important to understand it doesn't make you clever guy, nor it doesn't make me clever guy. um But so I met Zaki, very friendly, but now he doesn't even like my post. Though after the event, he liked every single of my posts 1 month after event. Then he stopped because I said something bad about him.
Yeah,
Or
I
not
feel like
about him. I probably criticized one of his products. But even look at Kujira, right? Look at the Calc Finance, which started on like Kujira. It's so fucking fun. It's great. It's like kind of gaming because you try to figure out strategy that will make you money. And these boys did it with very little money, I believe. And it's imagine like comparing this to Juno, who spent millions of dollars of community pool and not able to bring any application that's fun like this. Nothing.
right.
I saw some funny tweet the other day. Someone was saying that they were like chatting in Juno Discord, brainstorming ideas, and they realized it's public chat. So then they went to private. I was like, dude, no one go to fucking Juno Discord.
I didn't know
No
they had
one
a
gives a
Discord.
shit what you brainstorm
I
about.
didn't know they had a Discord. I used to go on the Fortis Discord, and I would argue with them. But yeah, who is this? Cedric mentioned something about community pools. I think that he is a big proponent of this token swap between Stargaze and MantaDAO. I'll say two things about that. Number one, token swaps are horrendous unless it's a layer one for a layer one and it's used to generate some kind of revenue, right? But the prop is actually the only prop I've ever seen that's written thoughtfully. It's very comprehensive. The people writing the prop probably know something that I don't, or a few things I don't, or they really believe that this DAO token is equal to a layer one token. So I'm a hard no, but I don't have enough stars token stake to really vote. I don't stake that. I only stake like $100 in stars. But
I will, yeah. So I will speak to I will speak to Cedric probably and someone else. I like Manta. I go to their product and I use it once probably because I'm new to Kujira, right? But it's essentially Kujira doesn't have really but they have order book, right? And they have the easy swap, but Manta is like the nice interface for swap, for like so it's like Osmosis UX on top of Kujira, if I understand. They don't have much of dilution, and the reason why I like so there's two. I understand this. My concern is I think Stargaze has a lot of liquidity, and
yeah,
on
but
one side,
I don't think so.
Stargaze don't necessarily need to focus on giving more of the exit. They need to be more buying pressure for sure, but what I'm okay with this proposal because Cedric shared that with me. Manta is essentially Kujira, the same community.
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah,
Kujira is the largest community.
probably.
I want Kujira to have Stargaze for the NFT hub, right? So if there is liquidity on Manta, maybe Manta DAO is not ideal token. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But if it's stable and this is liquidity, every Kujirans will likely prefer to buy stars via Manta. Maybe they were hesitant to Osmosis because they don't like. So I feel like this is good marketing stunt, right? That could go tragic. It's great marketing,
Tragic.
but could go tragic.
My focus would be
Because
this.
imagine like Manta gets racked, right? Like, but the same to anything else.
Yeah, no, my interest in Kujira and Stargaze would be to deepen liquidity for stars and USK. I wanted to facilitate that. And at the time when I approached Shane, he said that they're considering actually becoming an ICS consumer chain. So I stopped bothering him about the liquidity because Stargaze is still paying out incentives to have that liquidity that you're talking about. If they had deeper liquidity on what it's not Fin. What's the AMM on Kujira? Is it Fin or Fin's the order book, right?
Finis is order book,
Whatever.
and
I hate.
they have they separate, but it's all using the same. Is the bow is where you
That's
provide
it.
liquidity.
Right. So I would like to see
Yeah.
like 500K US dollars, a stars USK pool. Then if you want to do token swaps, because it's going to help. It's going to facilitate this tighter integration between Kujira and Stargaze. Then I would say, okay, Manta, now let's do something, especially if Manta is going to be the route to, because I should be able to go on Kujira, set a limit order, the limit order gets triggered, and then I click one button, and I'm able to now buy NFTs on Stargaze, and that could go through either BAO or Manta or whatever, and then a percentage of that is profit for whoever supplied the liquidity. In this case, the community pool, right? Stars is still paying out external incentives to Osmosis, I believe. That's not a good situation. I think these community pools right now would be better used for protocol-owned liquidity rather than incentivizing liquidity. And that's why I would say no to Manta for now. Obviously, I don't know everything about Manta. Maybe it's great. I don't know. You're telling me it's a good user experience, so that there's a plus right there.
Vincent Gala says he's going to do me a big favor.
What's that?
I guess it's delegating 100,000 atoms to me or something, because nothing else is like big enough favor. What else could it be?
By the way, I quit coffee for 3 weeks, and then yesterday I went back to coffee.
Yeah, it's good. Coffee is good.
Yeah,
I switched. It's healthy for you.
I switched it to.
Is it? I see Starbucks, which is like it's big cup, so like you're losing some respect, because I either assume it's like some milk inside, or it's like long as Americano diluted coffee.
It's a half calf Americano, and I put heavy cream in it. I don't put milk in my coffee. No, but I bring my kid.
It's fucking 9 a.m. at your place, and you starting with a heavy cream.
Yeah.
Calories right away.
I don't care. It's pouring rain today. I'm gonna go to the gym and do pull-ups. Today's my back day.
Amazing.
Listen, yeah.
I'm gaining weight. So, like, did I tell you I'm 81 now? How tall are you, by the way?
I'm 5'7", so I don't know what that is in centimeters. I'll convert it.
Okay, that's not really that impressive.
No, it's not.
but I thought you are like 5'10".
170 centimeters. No.
Oh, 177?
No, 170.
Is it?
170.
Yeah, you're very short. You look taller.
I look taller on TV.
But I wanted to move to the new most popular Cosmos influencer.
Oh.
Who is it?
It's got to be what's his name?
What's his name?
Danny.
Danny boy.
I mean,
I love his posts.
Danny's either playing golf or putting his puppy in a guillotine in his car, or talking about Loom, right?
I love Danny so much because he looks so positive and so happy about everything about his life that they must done some sort of surgery on him. Like, removed something.
I think
he did this nice. Did you see that?
I don't know. I took Twitter off my phone.
I can't find when I Google Danny. Why I cannot find Danny? Did he block me again? Everyone is blocking me again.
I think I think that the next Cosmos influencer after Danny is going to be Alex Cosmonaut, because he's just always buying those dips, and no matter how deep the dips go, he's just buying those dips and then add them to 100. I don't.
We have some Danny artwork. Can I share Danny artwork? Sorry for them.
Yep. And then there's a question from our audience. What do you think about Gelato Juno? Don's going to pop up the screen here. Let's see if we can make that.
Look how happy Danny is. Yeah. It's a little put through the AI, I think. And behind Danny is the big Danny ghost, and waves behind Danny.
That's the soul of the Cosmos right there you're looking at.
I don't fucking understand that at all.
What? He's making YouTube videos now. I think it's good to have more YouTubers.
But I don't understand the concept of this image. But
I mean, Zachy and Jack are retweeting him, so
yeah,
he must be doing something right. And I've never been. I don't even follow Zachy, but I know he doesn't follow me for sure. At least he's getting the attention of 2 of the 6 Cosmos whales, right? Maybe he'll be an advisor for
So
Bloom.
Zaki is interesting. I don't want to go that this conversation go off the rails, but Zaki is. I would expect more from Zaki. There is something odd. The
More.
same like Danny Boy. Like Danny Boy is like they must have done something to him, right? Because the Danny, like you would be the like, you would literally like, I don't know, murder Danny family, and next day Danny family would be GM cosmonauts. Remember this, they all positive today. Let's forgive each other. Here is the picture of me with a tiger behind me. That would be, so that's what I'm trying to say. And like and I was asking her because Danny Boy is like actually like he's proportional, right? So it looks okay, but he's like 5'3" or something. Like he's like proportional but small, you know what I mean? Like when you get like small people, you usually squeeze them,
like a featherweight UFC fighter.
Yeah.
I've met a few of them. They are very proportional. And then when you walk up to them, you realize like, oh, I could probably like if this guy was a little bit distracted, I could at least overpower him for a few seconds and possibly get him to tap out. But not. I see what you're saying. Proportional is good though. I don't think I'm proportional.
So yeah, you look like that. That's why you look taller. No, that's actually different. That should be opposite.
Oh God, here we go.
But yeah, so Zaki is because he's so nice. You meet him, you chat to him, and as long as you support that certain biased, he will like every single of your post. You might make even dump post like the Dane tweeting that there is inflation, and then that's what we need to add. Oh, this Cosmos inflation, okay? Cosmos has 15% inflation. Everyone knows it.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to change it, right? So if you tweet that inflation is 15%, like everyone is like, wow, that's underrated tweet. Like so Zaki, Jack suddenly.
I gotta say that's a dumb tweet.
I don't know why.
Dumb tweet. Let me go on record.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Let me go on record. We have 127 people in the chat right now. This is what I'm going to say. Not that many, but a fraction of that. If these people who were behind Atom 2.0 now want to mess with the inflation on Atom, that tells me that ICS does not bring value back to the hub. And they're going to admit that by screwing with the inflation and manipulating. They're going to set up a temporary supply squeeze so whales can sell their tokens. So make sure you're selling when that happens. That's my non-financial advice.
So I want to say to Zaki, to Jack, because it's very interesting when you have actual question to them that has point, they will completely ignore you because they don't have answer.
That's true.
And
that's true.
I love people pass that to them because they really don't have answer. So you tell them like inflation need to be changed, and they're like sharing, yeah, inflation need to be changed. But you tell them like, okay, it's very easy. You can make proposal, change it to 5 to 12%,
right.
Change it to change it. But they only talk about this, and only one change they wanted was Atom 2.0 change that would nearly completely slash inflation and allocate 80 million of tokens claimed to be community tokens. But we have learned that the community is essentially the certain groups. It's like two different groups. One might be Jay, the other is like Zaki and others that play politics together and get control of that. And that's big of control because that would be like 20% of the all tokens. That would around 20, below 20, I think, if that would be minted. So that's big control. They don't want other change. So they don't want to change inflation from 7 to 20% to 5 to 12 to 7 to 15, whatever. They want only one particular change that completely slash inflation and means $80 million because they talk about need for the change, but they only offered one.
But that's
right?
the thing.
Which is very
their ideas can't
which is
stand.
very strange.
Their ideas don't stand, and this is true of almost all the founders. They only retweet their own ideas They
Yeah.
never engaged with even the lowest level of questioning. And what that tells me is that there's no such thing as the community. The community is the top 5 validators on every chain. That's the community.
Hmm.
And if anyone that thinks they're the community, you're an idiot. I thought I was.
So
I thought I was part of it. No, if you're staking tokens and you're not a validator, you're not the community. I'm sorry. That's just how it is.
and also it's really you need to important there is a lot of things that I'm trying to think about, but they will never answer you.
I
So
find the same thing, and I
first of all, they don't want to change inflation. They don't. They want Atom 2.0. They don't want inflation change, because if they would want inflation change, they would propose different type of inflation. Other thing, the Cosmos doesn't generate any revenues, and the ICS will not generate any revenues. You get 10 chains that will cost over 1% probably of the inflation, and they will give you 1%, less than 1% of inflation. Hence, you have to incentivize that with Atom tokens.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need that inflation to incentivize, because it doesn't generate any revenues. They will not answer that question. Also, if they are heavily promoters of liquid staking.
I don't understand why that's such a big deal.
But look, Zaki said 90% will be liquid
Right,
staked.
I replied to that.
If 90% is liquid staked, why inflation matter to you? You hold liquid stake asset, hence you don't even notice the inflation. That becomes secondary, right? But do you know what happens when you have heavily liquid staking? The liquid stake validators are chosen by the other protocol, which is all very, very synchronized. Hence, if you get all the assets fully liquid stake, you also get complete governance control. So in this case,
Yeah.
if that would be Stride, Lido, and whoever else come, and I love Stride,
Yeah.
but the advisors to Stride choice of validators was essentially Samhart. Was it Tyborg? I don't know. Like was like was the like it's the certain group of people deciding on the validators
Right.
from the
Well,
liquid stake.
I think it's clear, right?
So
There's managers, right? There's managers. There's everybody else, and I don't understand this obsession with staking and liquid staking, because the assets on every single chain are so illiquid that you don't need a high percentage of tokens staked, right? Like, for example, on Stargaze, what are people going to steal on the chain? Do you really need more than 20 or 25% of the tokens staked to secure the chain? I don't think so. And it's the same on every chain. Juno probably only needs like 5% of their tokens staked, because everything on the chain is illiquid. It's not an asset. Unless you have Atom tokens on your chain, I don't think you have assets worth securing. So this obsession with security, I think, is really like a veiled attack on whatever decentralization is left, to concentrate voting in the hands of a few people. And when they talk about security, they're talking about governance. It's a hit on the validator set. And what will happen is this: they'll be very happy to concentrate the voting into less validators, but then expand the validator set at the same time. Look, we have 175. Oh, we have 178. Oh, we have 250 validators. Who cares? Those validators aren't doing anything, right? The top 5 validators, okay. Maybe the next 5 validators, okay. You only need like probably 15 or 20 validators on most of these chains, maybe 40 on the hub, to achieve the same results. And you'd have less validator companies losing money. And I don't understand.
So what it goes down, the arguments they make don't make sense.
Well, that's the thing. That's why they won't engage.
So if they don't make sense, if they don't make sense, right? Like 90% stake. So inflation is secondary, it doesn't really matter. And if that argument don't make sense, there is 2 options. Either they are extremely stupid people, or there is other reasons why they use this other argument.
There's other reasons. There's other reasons. And the other reason is they're going to use security as an excuse to micromanage the community pools. And Adam, the tax will be increased again on the hub. I have no doubt about that. And the inflation will not be decreased until the community pool has more money in it. I believe that.
Yeah.
And then instead of, Accelerator DAO, I don't know if they're doing a good job or a bad job, but I like the idea of having some type of treasury management. I wish there was competing treasury management DAO. Then it's not a DAO. I don't know why they call themselves a DAO. It's not a DAO. But
yeah,
otherwise, there's no point of having the community pool. And in the end, if you don't like the way the community pools are managed, you should leave the chain. And really, the price action is all about community pools. That I'm convinced, because there's no economic activity happening on most of these chains.
I'm looking all the time at Joe, by the way.
His camera's over here. Look.
So I would have to. I think they know, but I would have to look here to look there.
He thinks that we've rehearsed this and we're going off the script. But no, I think this cry of mesh security. I understand the concept of interchain security. That makes sense. But the fact that it doesn't accrue value back to the hub means they shouldn't even pursue it any further unless they change it drastically. Mesh security to me looks like an absolute sham. And I talked to Jake, and the only thing he said back to me was, well, that you're entitled to your opinion. And I said, listen, I'm not going to make a video about it unless I learn more, but there's no reason to go all in on security unless you're getting paid to develop it. Then it's great. Mesh security is great if you're the one that gets paid. And I said, who is paying for this? And please don't say the hub. And he said, well, the hub gave some money. I said, you know what? Forget this. Adam is going to subsidize all the bullshit infrastructure that nobody's going to use. And
yeah, like so about the mesh security, what I was saying, like, so you have this many micro chains that want to work together,
yeah.
right? And Sunny said, because when people said it will be very expensive, he said, yes, because it's security, you need to pay for security.
Get the hell out of here.
But as I said, you need to find the largest and the cheapest asset to provide you security. You don't really want to secure yourself with shit chains.
That's right.
Like, pointless. Why would you do that? It's like, that's how it works, right? You secure your country with being ally with United States, not with being ally with give me some shit country.
A shit country, Canada.
I was thinking some like Burkina Faso or something.
I'm an American. I don't know any of the Balkan countries, and the only country I can name in Africa is Egypt.
Timor-Leste. Okay, you don't secure your country with being ally with Timor-Leste. It's meaningless. So what I'm saying, what I understand, it still backs the idea that the chains are sovereign, right? But the chains don't have to have sovereign security. And as I said, if you get 100 chains using mesh security, you have 100 sets of validators. And that gets very expensive at the end. Overall, it makes it like a really inefficient security model. I'm interested with what Babylon is doing.
Yeah.
But I need to speak to David.
He's very good. He's very good.
I like David because David seems. I hope he will not change, because David, I feel he's no bullshit. And I think as he get into crypto now, maybe he will has to play some bullshit. I hope he will not have to.
He's a teacher. He's a college professor.
I hope he will not have to, but he understands that.
Well, here's the thing.
He knows.
He's grounded.
And he's like
He's grounded in Bitcoin.
So
it's and Ethereum. The
two successful. He tried to make the long range attack with the transactions. Like, I don't know how it works. Like every hour, that's the long range. But short other security, like the similar to ICS, by staking the Bitcoin. And that pool of Bitcoin, so if you have few billion Bitcoin staked and they are incentivized with other blockchains that use security, even 2% for Bitcoiners, like I'm getting extra 2%. But for those blockchains, instead of $100,000 a month, it might cost $2,000 a month to get that Bitcoin few billion dollar security.
That's what people don't understand.
More sense. Yeah. And Bitcoin, it doesn't stop.
Well,
it's very secure.
That's the same.
So quite likely.
Yeah. That's the same as when you look at a DEX and you say, wow, this DEX has $100 million in liquidity, but maybe the revenue they're generating from that liquidity is only a fraction of what they pay for it. It would be like if you opened up a restaurant and they're like, wow, this pizza shop is selling 1,000 slices of pizza a day for $1, but they're paying $2 for the materials. They're just doing volume that's not sustainable, and eventually what's going to happen? The roof is going to fall in. They're not going to pay the electric bill. They're not going to pay the water bill, and then what? Unless you were one of those people who got paid to eat pizza at that restaurant the first day they opened, you're a loser. You're a loser. It's
That's why I hope I'm quite interested. Of course, cannot wrap my head around. I'd love to speak to David soon. I'm trying to get to talk to him again, because it makes sense for me if he found a way for security that is like borrowed from Bitcoin, because it's even larger asset than Ethereum.
Right. So he ties the security for a proof of stake chain back to the header on Bitcoin blocks, the timestamps or something.
This is the new idea. I understand the first one was like the for the long range attack. So there is like one transaction every hour or whatever, confirming that that's the correct chain.
Yeah.
So you can shorten the unbonded time. So this is the one, but they want other security. So they found some solution. They released light paper. I need to fully read that you can stake Bitcoin on. I would have to check. So that staked Bitcoin secures, let's say, Cosmos, Stargaze, Babylon, etc., etc. If there is like few billion, and in exchange, those that stake it, they receive a little bit of Atom, a little bit of Babylon, but probably it's even better. Like I would assume they shouldn't receive the dust. All of those should be actually converted to Bitcoin and paid to Bitcoin in Bitcoin. But that's good security model, because quite likely that could be much cheaper, because that Bitcoin security can scale to secure thousands of chains. And as it's thousands of chains, and it drives even few percent for Bitcoin stakers, that's fraction of a cost for those who get that security.
Yeah. I think what people don't understand is that the validator sets cost a lot of money to stay running. And if all your, and this is I responded to this in the comments. This person said, I think our narrative is we're still building, and when adoption comes, we could be a nice alternative. Yeah, for the user, if there are products, it's going to be great. But from a cost perspective, if you go through MintScan and you just click on the chains, it's all empty block space. And that costs money to keep the validator sets running. They have more block space than they can sell even in a bull market. And even if they sold all that block space, it doesn't necessarily mean the token's price is going to go up because of that,
Joe,
other than speculation. They're in a tough spot because they didn't monetize.
Let's
IBC.
say I spoke about this before, right? Let's say the server costs $100, right? You have 100 validators that like $10,000.
$100 a month.
That's like minimum, right?
Minimum. Some of them I know are up to 500, right, or something like that.
Some people into 1,000, but that's minimum. That's $10,000 a month. Okay, so 100K a year. Am I correctly here?
For a validator set, that's 100 validators at the bare minimum, $100 a month. 100.
Yeah. So if you have 150 validators, I think the bare minimum probably lands somewhere 150,000 a year to keep the chain running. So if you have $3 million chain, that's like 5% of whole value of them. But even more, back in the bull market, people claimed that they have manpower to run those servers, which cost them few $1,000s a month, which I told to everyone on Spaces it's a lie. They lie to you for delegations. They don't do that. But imagine they claims were like maybe $2,000. If you have 100 validators at $2,000 a month, that lands you to 200K a month, correctly?
It's a lot.
And that's 2 million, and that's 2 million a year, according to their claims. That's not very good model.
It's not a good model unless your revenue is so high.
Unless your chain is $1 billion.
Yes, you have to run so many transactions that generate revenue through one chain that it offsets all the sell pressure of the validators covering their costs by selling their rewards. It's an impossible situation because Cosmos Cosmos is more of a software stack than it is an economic model, and it seems like these founders are trying to use it as an economic model that doesn't actually create any revenue. So how do they get money? Community pool. They trick people into staking. They sell into marketing. It's a very it's a very tough spot, and I can only understand a fraction of it. I'm not on the other side of this, but it's yeah. And then they're mentioning relayers. Relayers are even more expensive to run. So what's the incentive to run all these losing validators on chains? I don't know. I don't know why they do it.
But
I expected validator sets to shrink by half during the bear market. We might
they
not be
should.
at the bottom for Cosmos. Like,
But
oh,
there is even other solution. Have you heard of Eigenlayer? I want to. So
no,
Eigenlayer, you shared Ethereum security by restaking Ethereum, shared security to hyperscale Ethereum, and you can restake that. I'm not sure how it works. You can
I
check
don't
it.
trust staking Ethereum. I don't trust it. I don't know that much
Um,
about it. My knee jerk reaction is I'll
but
keep
yeah,
my
I'm just saying what I want to say is there like another
alternatives.
security option that's potentially better than Cosmos.
Yeah, no, of course. And I think what we might see is even if the market reverses, the stock market turns around, housing market turns around, interest rates get lower, Bitcoin reaches all-time highs, Ethereum reaches all-time highs. Some of these proof of stake tokens that run on this model of empty block space and continued sell pressure, their tokens might continue to find new bottoms. And
Mhm.
and people are saying that, oh, when the market reverses, all of these tokens are going to reverse. That's not true because in the meantime, there are hundreds of new chains and new tokens being released. Liquidity is going to find the new projects that are promising, um, just based on speculation.
I,
Some of these tokens might find new bottoms in a bull market, and that's an absolute disaster if you're sitting there staking the token. And that's why I'm thinking I don't care if I'm getting 38% to stake a token if it's losing 38% a month. I'll never get back to even ever unless I could hit a community pool as a validator or as a
it's
founder.
interesting that
I
a lot
could
of
build.
Cosmos chain said, like, yeah, it's just bear market. It all come back.
It doesn't
It's
come
not
back.
gonna come back. It's
It
not
doesn't
gonna
come
come
back.
back, brother. Your Juno is not gonna hit all-time highs ever
No.
again, ever.
For Juno to hit like $2 would be an absolute
Massive
miracle.
success.
It
If it
would
hits two
require
dollars, just run away.
it would
But
require outside investment, like, and it would be a temporary window. You know,
what will happen with Juno every time it's gonna bounce back? Because it seems it found the bottom, right? It's actually even like bouncing. Um,
right.
but
There's a humongous Bitcoin relief rally, and just now Juno's finding a bottom. I get it.
but but
Bitcoin's up 110% from the bottom.
well, I'm
Juno's
saying that
finding a
because the
bottom.
company I work for, like Stargaze, also struggle with the token price, right?
Yeah.
Um, but what will happen with Juno if it like do 10x from now? So it hits over $2. Every time it will happen, you will see activation of community pool and dumping
Yes.
accelerate, and it's gonna
That's
do the
exactly
same.
right.
And then bottom, and it will bear market, and then you will have Wolf contract and others back to shilling Juno, go up, dump, and it will be like this constant weird repeat process when nothing ever gonna get built on Juno.
And not only that, there'll be something like mesh security to sucker in more people to stake the token. And the
Mm.
people that are staking the token while there are community pool spends happening, they're like the human shield because those people can't sell along with that temporary spike in price. The community spend beats you to unbond, and now you're withstanding all that sell pressure because you're staking for an extra 2%. You're losing 50% because there's such low liquidity. One community spend can send the token down 50%
Mhm.
in the right conditions. So, yeah, I think what we need in Cosmos, and I really hope someone builds it, we need an impermanent loss simulator where people can put tokens into a simulator and just show them what happens under different conditions, the impermanent loss. And the same thing should happen with a community spend simulator. If we pass this prop, what is this going to do to the token price if the volume is
Yeah.
the
That
same as
that
the
would be
last 30 days
interesting
average?
app. Hard to monetize, but I love such app. I want to I want to say other things about community pool, because so now Neutron, and it seems Neutron will really launch a lot of products, maybe, but I see very intense discussions on the Neutron forum about new grants. In fact, I think there is the grant program launches requesting 5 years of the tokens, for some reason not 1 year. 5 years, give us time. 5 years of tokens, 54 million Neutron. I think that's worth like $20 million, right? A modest sum. And
A small grant.
but what I wonder here, and also I assume whether it would be Zaki, Jack, Ethan, even Jake One, anyone would not give me the answer for that question. Not that Jay is involved, but like they would not give me the answer. It's like I almost feel that the community chain is the hedge against the lawsuit. So in
Absolutely.
the DYDX is foundation, right? So look how DYDX, excellent product. They contribute to Cosmos SDK. They possibly, I would have to Google if they have their own grant programs. They are not available for the customers in US, and they're fully driven by the foundation and distribute the tokens for users to their platforms. Okay. And if you do you see where I'm going at?
Well,
So
here, here,
what I'm saying, if you launch community chain, you don't have foundation, like you don't have to face all of these legal obligations. So you
yeah.
still have pre-ordinated role, right? This is the guy who will do grants. This is the guy who will do this. This is the guy who will do this. But look, guys, it's difficult to do in this certain legal environment. That's why we are going to deploy community chain. But don't worry, we're gonna play the game and it's gonna function as our own company. I
Uh,
feel it almost feels like this. And I also don't think it's very efficient model to run a company.
no, but it allows for a lot of gray area. It allows for a lot of grifting of
Yeah.
community funds. And look at what's 1337. Is that all the devs that are going to magically work for free to make Cosmos better, or are they going to request funding from somewhere? You tell me. Um,
Look, there is. I want to share. Should we move to mm, uh, less heartfelt subjects?
yes, let's wrap it up on a light note. I'm thinking maybe like we do horoscopes or something like that, or whatever you have in mind.
What's the guy from the new grant reviewer? D2, something like this.
Who?
There was this beautiful post about the real yield
On
on
Loom.
sommelier. Did you see that? Did you
I
see
can't
that?
seem to find a performance history for any of the sommelier
That was
strategy tokens.
beautiful chart. Uh,
It was on Twitter. Which
it
account
was
was
on
it?
Twitter, and I retweeted that. So I will try to find it. I hope it wasn't removed, because they love fucking removing tweets, and that's is it removed, for fuck's sake, man? Come on, why would
Who
you?
who removed it?
It would be tweet author, I think. Um,
Uh,
wait,
we got to start bookmarking my tweets for this stream here.
dude. So is it? Sorry, because I'm giving a little bit of the quiet time,
That's okay.
right?
I'll do the traffic and weather in your local city. Uh, if you're in your local city right now, Monday morning traffic will be exactly the same as it was last Monday morning in the same place, the same time. So just be careful about that. The weather is going to be constantly changing over the summer months. Depending on where you live, it might be rainy, it might be hot, it might be humid, it might be dry. So there's that.
Anyway, it seems gone, but there was a chart of sommelier, how much revenue it's gonna drive at the certain levels of stake tokens. So as of now, the sommelier generates below 1% of the revenue. Okay, and there's
Of
still
what? Of the cost?
uh below
You're talking about
one
the
percent of real yield if you
of
stake some
Are you talking about sommelier tokens? So they're getting 1% of
sommelier
the real yield for their Ethereum strategies.
for yeah.
And that amount is probably
So
a lot less than the cost to run the validator set.
and it's like 130 of them staked, right? There is 500, so let's assume as it be diluted, maybe half of them is staked because that's incentivized, right? 250 million. And it was crazy because to reach like 5% yield, that's good. At the current price, you would need like 10x. So they claim like how undervalued is some, showing you different yield, and that would be like at 30x, you will have five like, and that would be like 3x. Like if they able to bring the TVL 30x, it means that like probably like token will be like 3x
But
unless they're gonna pump it artificially.
how does the TV so you're talking about the TVL on the sommelier chain is
Yeah, it's
correlated to the so that's what determines the the success of the Ethereum trading strategies, or am I confusing that?
yeah. So I again don't think it's good model because I see no reason for token, and I think again maybe legal loop because it might make much more sense if you do um fully
An app on
centralized
Ethereum.
company and you can use these strategies without bullshit token, right? So how it works, the revenues that sommelier generates from the strategies, so there is the cut, they do strategies, so you have like 7% on Ethereum, 5% on the stable coin.
Yeah, I have some strategy tokens. I like it
But
in
of course
concept.
you
Yeah.
cannot do much yield on such strategy. Like the cut will not be big. So if the cut is not big, you need massive TVL, right?
Yeah.
So sommelier like have $15 million TVL, right? At 150 million, they will have 5% real yield at the current prices.
But
And
that
they
see,
try to tell you it's gonna do like 20x. It's gonna be
no.
$2.
Here's the thing.
Dude, at $2, you have to have like 5 billion of TVL.
Five percent
Like I'm not
real
sure, like
yield. 5% real yield is good,
yeah.
but you're not accounting for all the risks and the black swans in crypto, like a stablecoin depegging or the arrest of a founding team.
That's what
Like
I'm
that
saying. That's why I'm saying the TV is. I asked Zaki during the interview
in the real
that
world, 5% is
no-brainer.
great.
It should be few $1 billion, right?
Yeah.
But it's not because it's still app. An app can get exploited.
And of course there's exploits, right? So yeah, so single digit in the real world is great.
So
If I'm
you
gonna hold a
take.
stock that's
So
gonna pay
let's
me
say
five
you.
percent.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
I'll say if I'm gonna
So
hold a
what I'm
stock
saying.
that's gonna give me go.
So what I'm saying, you might get the 5% stable coin yield, but will you take your $100 million back and use strategy or sommelier, or you will buy treasury bills
Yeah,
and
yeah.
get, I don't know, a little bit more with no risk?
That's the thing. You could just buy like large cap dividend paying stocks,
Yeah.
and you might not get 5%, but you eliminate like 90% of the risk, right? So maybe like my best performing ETF gets me 3 or 3.5% dividends, but I also have the upside of the stock market, which is backed by governments, right? The governments are not going to let the stock market crash unless it's by design. They're going to backstop all the big industries. But then in crypto, 5% sounds good if it's real yield, but I would need like 20. I would need like Anchor Protocol APRs to feel totally comfortable putting a large amount of money into that.
I mean, like there are the literally funds that pay you like
Yeah,
I think there is like some I saw some JP Morgan that give you like pay you 10% a year, like so you can even like, and there are companies, someone told me that Rio Tinto is shit. One of the uh, macro guy used to shill Rio Tinto a lot, right? So I can even share that. It's so it's mining. It's largest. I think it's largest mining company from Australia. Wait, I want to share the screen.
Rio Tinto is like precious metals mining, right? In South America, I think
Australia.
it's Australia. I
Am
know
I
they have
sharing?
mines.
Am I sharing?
Yeah, you're up. You can make it a little bigger.
I don't know how to make it bigger. What they do? Let's see what they do. The biggest. But someone told me like it's shit company. But like regardless of what they mine, dividend yield at 13%. The
Yeah,
price, let's say sideways. Okay,
and
I
I'm on
need
my
to app.
I'm on my Fidelity app right now. Fidelity's saying it's undervalued by about 15%.
Regardless, the stock price 5 years ago at $50. It's, let's say it goes sideways, but it pays over 10% dividend, and they do regular stock buybacks. Try to pump the. That's how you do. That's how you pump the shares. That's how you pump
Right.
the tokens by the burn, by the buybacks. So, what I'm trying to say, risk reward, it's slightly off with sommelier here.
Yeah, I see dividend yield is 13%. Like you said, annualized dividend is $9 per share. That's look, if you want
$9
exposure,
per share at $68 share. Psh.
Tank is saying PAAS, Pan American Silver. I do have some silver stocks, but I don't think I have that one. Um,
And there are even more secure options, like, so of course, like things like Rio Tinto, but like I'm saying, with like sommelier, to be successful, they would really have to have like $10 billion in TVL to be like interesting product. And I'm not sure if that's can happen in the next 5 years, because they fail at marketing a lot. Their marketing is absolutely ridiculous, uh useless, and they appear to have, I want to say, they appear to have insane cash burnouts that based, I think, in, don't want to say, in some of these large American cities, have over 20 employees, I believe, which means they must have certain, cash. And in
wait,
5 years, they might go to cash flow issues, and they
who are
would
you
need
talking? Who are you talking about?
sommelier now.
Oh, some. Okay, let me make another controversial statement. Then we'll wrap this up. Most proof of stake chains have a lifespan of one market cycle. There's no 5 years from now for most of these chains. I'm not saying Sommelier fits in that category. If Sommelier is going to subsidize an entire blockchain based on successful trading strategies on Ethereum, good for them. But like you
Well,
said, they
the
should.
thing is, I think it's great product, but you will
Yeah,
have
I
a
like
lot of
I like.
application that offer this product, because soon wrapped STETH will come to Cosmos, and probably people will start launching the apps with strategies as well.
Yeah,
So it's a difficult market. I think I before thought like maybe there is something, but I do think it's actually very difficult market. We also had the comment with one of the secret node, that he needs more of the deep dive videos.
who's that?
Who's what? Ethan?
I think he's saying Ethan Frey
Ethan
has an
Frey? He
NFT.
does.
Mint. Honestly, I think more teams should mint NFTs because then they could actually gauge demand for their bullshit ideas. Hey, if you're going to sell NFTs to fund something and only one person buys your NFT and it's your mother, maybe you shouldn't go forward with that plan. I'm not buying Ethereum NFTs of Cosmos devs. I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
Ethan has contributed a lot. I just hope Wind is not going to absolutely implode because right now Juno is two applications that are teetering on the brink of disaster, and one of them is Wind. And we didn't talk about Gelato. I think that's minor news for Cosmos. That Gelato is basically Gelato's going to branch out from Juno. I think that's good. I think that Rack did that, and obviously Migaloo.
oh, we need to. So I don't know about Ethan and NFTs, but like I assume Ethan knows nothing about NFTs, so that would be absolutely fail idea that goes to zero again and no one cares again. But
I don't know what I
um,
said.
Gelato, there is a lot of controversy even Ray messaging me
It's
because
nothing. I think it's nothing. I think it's. I
so
get that Gelato's upset, but they're just one type of app on Juno, and Juno governance has to do everything it can to please DAO and Wind first, and then the other small applications. Because even if you're running a million transactions through Juno, it still doesn't mean that you're creating revenue for the validators. So I think it's a positive that Juno is going to branch out. To be honest, there's lots of
Hank,
cheap chains out there.
can you link that NFT here? Because I don't know
What do you mean it minted out? Well,
what.
they didn't come on my Twitter space, so I don't acknowledge them.
But wait, what were we saying? You see, I have black holes in my brain now.
It looks like all these precious metal and mining stocks are very undervalued. Their price to book is like 1.5, and that's usually
Yeah,
like a decent.
I think it's very interesting. Especially, I would look for like outside of the America company. Because like what interesting happened, like when you can see American stocks in 20 years, past 20 years, they went bonkers, especially
Can I
tech stocks.
can I FUD
So
Tank's idea? I want to FUD Tank's idea.
what's his idea?
He wants to create some kind of, I guess, community stake, actual community stake in Juno. But no matter how good Tank's idea is, and I don't fully understand it, he did explain it to me. I have to go back and look.
I don't
I think
understand anything
you're
about
not building on
on
solid footing here. Anything you build on Juno is not built on solid footing, because if the layer one token just goes reverse parabolic, everything on the chain is disrupted. And I don't think you should build anything good on Juno right now. I think you should wait if it was me. So I think
anything that has
the
to do
working
with
group is going
AI
to get
can be
blamed for
complex.
everything. As one by one, the core one devs leave, right? Wolf leaves. He already accomplished everything on Juno. Dimmy's going to rebrand for the next market cycle, so the new people coming in don't know it's the same person, right? One by one,
He
core
already
one's going to leave.
rebranded. He already, not sure if you remember, he already gave the chance to others by dropping his validator Dimi on Juno. That's what he said, giving chance others. Then he probably removed that tweet and then came back as not ETA stakers. He joined ETA stakers, which were probably the same people anyway
Yeah.
before, and they rebranded into something in block, and they rebranding again now.
Made in block. Yeah, I'm gonna DM them and just say, hey, Paisan, like what are we doing here? Don't you have like one company? Build your company, but I know nothing about that world, so
I
I
should
can't
rebrand
comment.
Don Kryptonium
Well,
from.
you tried to rebrand on Juno.
I should, I, let's see how it's doing.
I think the working group is going to get blamed for the tail end of Juno's downward spiral, and I think Juno is going to eventually get used as a test net, and eventually there'll be just one validator and one dev. I don't know. I think someone asked me yesterday, what do I think is going to happen to Juno? I said one by one, core one's going to leave, and Wolf was first, and he beat them to it. So now they have to wait a while, so it doesn't look coordinated. They got to put like 3 months between. Or some of them will leave when mesh security actually happens. I hope it doesn't happen, unless it goes through like more scrutiny. But mesh security, I hope some people in the chat look through it and tell me, it's good or bad. Yeah, Tank, I'll definitely do it, Tank. I would love to, because I don't feel, Tank, it takes me a long time to understand things. I'm not a dev. I'm not smart. I just look at things on face value, and my
I'm
gut
not sure.
tells
Like
me.
I'm talking to you, and you can put any dev in front of you, and I don't think they are able to compete with you on the intellectual level, except David from Babylon, probably.
I like
Uh,
talking to David. David was really good, and I got to say, I want to compliment Jay as well. I don't know if you know, I interviewed Jay like 2 weeks ago on my channel, and I think it's a sign when somebody can answer a yes or no question versus someone that can't, and also it's a sign when someone can answer a question in the least amount of words possible. When you can say a
well,
lot with a little words,
you
it means
know,
that you actually know what you're talking about.
yeah. So I was watching this, not impressed. But I got blocked by Jake One for the third time. He keep blocking me and unblocking the pending. So I want to clear the air. I think it was because I had the audacity to maybe suggest that he could be double-digit body fat.
Double digit what?
Body fat. No, like there was, which is
Oh,
weird.
oh,
So
oh,
he
oh.
responded. So what happened? He screenshotted Zaki response where Zaki advises him to get professional help because Jake One claims that he is sober for 3 days. Okay. So I take that Zaki screenshot that he responded and I retweeting that and I say like you could just ask Don instead of getting professional, like I don't remember, you could ask Don Kryptonium how to get to single digit body fat, ask Don Kryptonium how to do something else, ask Don, and
Do
that
you
got me blocked and I don't know why.
do you think any
And
devs have single digit body fat? No, right? That's pretty hard for a dev because you're
so
sitting in
what
front of
I'm
the computer.
saying, you know, there is not big difference between the personality of Jay and Zaki. There is not big difference between personality of Jay and Ethan Bookman. Like many people want to know different, but try to criticize Jay in your tweet. You will be blocked. He's blocking anyone who even slightly will criticize him. So, but he will not block Zaki Manyan, he will not block Jack Zampolin. He's obsessed with them,
Do you
right?
think that all of their back and forths is just like it's all
I
for
don't
show?
know,
It's all for
but
show, and then
I think
in the end, they're like, look, you have a lot of Atom tokens. I have a lot of Atom tokens. We need to sell them at some point, but we don't want to sell them at $9. Let's say that Atom's going to go to 1,000, but let's sell them at 100, and let's just get out, and
no,
we'll move to free.
I don't know. I don't know what's between them, but the relation is so weird that I would assume they had not right upbringing, right? So I'm not saying mine was perfect. I'm not saying yours was perfect. Um, oh, 8 pace. Like I'm at 12 or 12 now, I think.
I'm
Paying
probably at like
attention.
28.
Um, yeah. So I'm saying like that there was anyone who ignored the fact that there was like insane B cap of Jay during your interview. Either like everyone who watched that interview was like, "What the fuck is going on here? Readjust that camera, buddy." And I'm sorry for that.
Well, here's the
You
thing.
should say to him, "Hey
He
Jay, can
originally
you?"
he wasn't going to go on camera at all.
I
So
know, and I'm not surprised.
yeah,
But what I'm saying, I think there is issue with upbringing.
here we go.
There is something
There's an issue with upbringing. Oh my god.
I
This could be
think.
the next. This could be the next show. We could say like the next show could be um, best personality types for raising a dev.
Because if someone
1337.
criticizes you or you disagree, what you do? You say like, "Oh, fuck off," right? Like whatever. But they have very different dealing. Like you ask the question, that's not the block. Or Zaki is actually my favorite because Zaki doesn't block, right?
Well, I know you like Zaki. I know you don't like his empty tweets. They're like so.
He doesn't like me anymore. He used to like me a month ago, but he stopped. But I even saw the tweet of Golden Ratio that Golden
Oh, he
Ratio
actually Golden Ratio blocked me.
he got better. Oh, look how we going. You are blocked by this. I'm blocked by this,
Yeah,
and
I'm blocked by
but
Golden Ratio,
anyway.
so I can't see any of his horrific buys. So I don't know how much Comdex he's buying. I don't know I don't know how much I don't
So
know how much Bitsong he's been buying. I don't know how much Loom he's buying. What a joker that guy is.
I'm
I don't know.
telling you,
I used to talk to him
he
on
seems he
DMs
got
once
a
in a while.
little wiser lately. So he
He
used to
blocked me.
have me muted. I'm quite confident I was muted before. So I saw that tweet today that he shared the TVLs of the blockchains, and there was like Juno TVL, etc. And he said many of them never come back. And I think he also meant Juno that he was buying at $9.
I remember the tweets. He must have deleted them. Golden Ratio Enterprises buys
Buy
147
Juno at
shares.
$9.50.
I remember he would say, "Please,
Easy
please
play now.
stay
Easiest play.
$13. Paydays on Friday. I hope the price stays below $13 before I get my next paycheck." Do you remember? Do you remember that?
It's so fun. I remember how he
That
was
was my
purchasing
favorite tweet of the
30,
bear market.
12,
I hope I find it. I hope
11,
I remember.
9.
I look, golden ratio, good guy. I actually delegate. Even
Comdex.
if he blocks me, I
Comdex
delegate to
at
him.
$2. Easiest
What about,
play.
can I please
Potential
borrow?
17 trillion.
I remember he was on Twitter asking to borrow crypto so he could get his knob validator onto the active set as fast as possible. And I don't remember I don't know what token he wanted. I don't know. I don't know. But I remember, please, Juno, stay above $13. Oh, it's stay below $13. Oh, don't worry, it's gonna stay below $13.
He's got a while to. I wonder what his average. He probably spent like 50K, $8 average.
His DCA for Comdex is probably $5, and his DCA for for Juno is probably like $28.
Yeah, I think Comdex. He was like, wait,
folks, you don't see low market caps like this.
I think he's been averaging down easy since like $1.30. Comdex is at 3 cents right now.
I sold Comdex at 25 cents, and I got told by someone in my DMs that I sold the bottom. I said, "Oh well."
I was selling every single airdrop I got from them. So I'm the absolute. But anyway, so he left that tweet, and then Zaki Manyan commented on that tweet, BLD, and
what does
then
that mean? Agoric.
and Golden Ratio responded like $160 million fully diluted valuation. No, it needs to go lower and something.
I got the best Agoric airdrop.
Zaki, once you do that to Zaki, it's like Zaki deactivates Further engagement, and don't like the tweet, just leaves.
I don't think he's ever engaged with me. He's never engaged with me on Twitter or in DMs or in Telegram. And I don't think he's ever engaged with me, but I have a good Zaki story. So
well, I can give you the strategy for engagement.
Oh, good. Let's do that. Then let's end. This is too long, and I have to go to the gym.
Just go and like, what's the Agoric now? 10 cents?
I don't know. I didn't even know they had a token actually. I didn't know they were. I didn't know they had a live.
11 cents. Just go. BLD insanely undervalued, only $160 million market cap.
But what apps are on the chain? Nothing, right? Just voting and claiming rewards.
Just mention 10 million JavaScript developers that are coming to Agoric. Bullish.
Yeah.
End with bullish. And tomorrow, Sommelier at $50 billion TVL.
Let's talk about
some token price, 20% yield or whatever. Bullish. Keep doing that, and you even get a follow from him.
I'm gonna try it. Well, I want to see if Max can get a follow doing that.
I'm a little disappointed because this live stream was like very serious. I think it actually was like
yeah, it was like an interview. Next week we'll have to screw around more. Maybe we'll.
Cosmonaut, did you mint at IST with Atom already?
What's IST? Is that the ETF of shitcoins?
Is the stable coin? Have you minted Cosmonaut?
That's a stable coin? In Cosmos? On Osmosis? Why do we? Is that because Noble?
It's like USK, but IST.
Got it.
Yeah, it's like, and you can mint with Atom, and they also did exactly the same. They build in the same, I think, liquidation auction. Similar because Kujira is closed source, but the idea is the same. So
it seems that a lot of people want to copy Kujira, and the same people want them to open up their code. It's just very interesting.
It's just quite funny because Kujira is like literally like 3 guys, right? Agoric is like 100 people or whatever. $100 million funding.
They have a sweatshop.
Brainstorm the idea. Have you heard of this Kujira?
They got to fund a whole sweatshop making those fanny packs, those friendship fanny packs.
Do you know Kujira coming with this? No, it's separate app, Blend protocol. I think Agoric now is staying.
Blend.
I think they already claimed the Discord roles, Agoric team, under fake names. The OG Discord roles in Blend protocol. awaiting for what they drop so they can also deploy it on Agoric chain.
Oh my God. Yeah,
But
I talked to the Blend is the same team that did Calc Finance. It's the same team.
So you mean bullish? Bullish?
I'm ending the stream. I'm ending the stream on a.
Can we go on for 5 minutes more?
Yeah. Okay.
5 minutes more.
And I
I
get to
feel
share.
like I would like to talk. Get straight A, worship strike. Now, I do think they're like the period between 8 years to 15 wasn't correct in their lives. There was something missing.
Yeah,
Whole
they're called-
puberty.
I know what's missing. Women.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
No,
What do you
that
think?
wouldn't damage them that much. Because there is like no,
You think it's the parenting? I think it was the socializing in school.
I don't, but they're Cosmos developers are the type of people that when you go for them for a movie different than like a hero movie, like a comic, you have to explain them every 5 minutes what happened because they're like unable to understand the human emotion or the action or something like that. So this is why you have it on Twitter. You ask the question to someone, they have that voice, don't respond. Danger zone, because maybe there was like the danger zone at school at them for them. Don't respond. So the teacher asked them, imagine 11-year-old, who's we pick? So pick one developer, Cosmos. Pick me one Cosmos developer.
One Cosmos developer? Oh my God.
Pick me one. So it's not my fault.
Jake. I don't know if he's a developer. I don't know.
Give me some other one.
I don't know develop. Any Cosmos developer? Like
Jake is communicative. No, Jake also doesn't respond. So yeah. So 11-year-old Jake at school, the teacher asked, Jake, why did you poop yourself? Why you didn't tell me you have to go toilet? And he's still like, danger zone, don't respond. And sitting quiet in the poop. And now it's the same. You ask the question, they get the same signal. Don't respond.
Yeah.
Complete ignore.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean, the wrong development.
Yeah. Gotta drive slow on drive.
Because the normal person would be like, I just wanted to fart. And it came out. That would be, and that's like
no, it's like in Rain Man when Tom Cruise buys Dustin Hoffman the wrong underwear, and he just can't put them on. He's like, I wear Hanes 32s. Yeah, these are boxers, white boxers. I wear Hanes 32s. Hanes 32. Yeah.
You are rude to.
Gotta watch Wapner 4. Yeah. Wapner 4. Yeah. You've seen that movie?
I've seen Rain Man, yeah, but I don't remember the scenes exactly. Yeah.
Of course, Wapner's like 4. Yeah.
Can we go for 5 minutes more?
Yeah.
Do you have other good death stories from the childhood?
You know when I was in college, I was a computer science major.
Wow.
And then I had a laptop, and the day before the final exam, my laptop crashed and I had to reinstall Windows on it, and Windows took like 7 hours to install, and I just didn't go to the final exam. I don't know if I had to go. I don't know. I screwed up the class, and then I just changed my major after that. I was like, screw this. But yeah,
do you think you fucked up your life with this?
No, I think I should have. Oh yeah, definitely. I should have been, because I remember in college, we were sitting in the class. It was a lecture. One of the coding class was a lecture, and they had alumni come in and talk to us. They said, look, this job is really lonely. It's really hard. You sit in front of the computer for like 50 hours a day, and you have to work by yourself. But every year you work, you're guaranteed to get a raise. Otherwise, you quit and get a higher salary somewhere else. And by the end of 10 years, you will definitely be making a six-figure salary. This was in 1998. So a six-figure salary is like, probably like 250,000 US dollars now,
Yeah,
200,000 US dollars now.
yeah.
So I remember like, wow, $100,000. That sounds like a lot. So I stuck with it. I did really well with programming, C++, JavaScript, and HTML. And I did take some,
Yeah,
but I didn't. If I stuck with it, who knows? Maybe I would have been mining Bitcoin in 2008, right? I don't know. Maybe I would have found Bitcoin
yeah.
early.
I
I don't know.
also did like stupid decisions in my life, but when I now think of it, I think I was quite lucky, right? I traveled to a few places. If I
Yeah.
wouldn't do certain, I learned English. Do you know I learned English quite late in my life? I was
You
22 year
told me you were
old.
bartending, right? You were a bartender?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I learned English when I was adult. I could show you one of the old YouTube videos recordings, first time me speaking on the camera in YouTube video. It was ridiculous, like very
I
slow,
heard
very.
that it's very hard for Polish people to learn English, and that's why Polish people have a bad stereotype in the United States. Because Polish people, when they
You
came to Ellis
know,
Island, they because of what, you have a different alphabet or no in
no, no,
Poland?
no, we don't.
Huh.
um English proficiency in Poland is quite high now, but US got immigration during communism and also post-war, which was stupid Polak, right? I know
Yeah,
that slow Polacks.
that's the stereotype in the United
Yeah,
States.
yeah, maybe something in that. Maybe there
I
is
oh, I
slow.
think it had to do with when Polish people came to Ellis Island, they couldn't answer like questions. They couldn't write their name or something. So that was the stereotype was, oh, they're
Yeah,
stupid. They're Polish.
because that was like absolute like communist poverty, Polish
Yeah,
people
yeah,
speaking
yeah.
only Polish going, right? So
I
they were.
think different decades there was a different like stupid immigrant race, right? Poland, I know Italians were considered stupid. Polish, I can't remember the other ones, but every decade of immigrant
Yeah,
there was a different
but yeah,
stereotype.
I know Polacks are slow. I think the this stereotype still maybe exists there. Um, I don't know. I when I was in US, it was fun. But you know what you speak of the devs, because I had this imagination that devs are clever people.
Same.
But in Cosmos, last 2 years in Cosmos, I discovered that this is one of the biggest lie, because I always thought of myself that I'm not very clever. I mean, not very clever. I always thought like I thought even of myself better, but I didn't think of myself I'm accomplishable, right? I didn't have the like interest to learn coding or
Yeah.
something. I always made this like stupid silly decisions, and I never like focus. I thought like, yeah, devs must be clever because they do some, it must be complex or something, right? But once I got faced with them and got into that communities, I realized that this job might be similar to the uh, very non-skillful. You learn the language, you stay obsessed with this because your social skills are horrible, and some of them are very intelligent, right? Like that's also thing. Like some
Yeah.
of them are, but a lot of them choose that direction of life because of the certain family pressure, because of its good salary. And I think you don't have to be exceptional intelligent to go to school or whatever, or even self-learn code, and you still can get very well paid job. But there is
Yeah.
very few really good developers.
I think what I'm going to do if there's another COVID lockdown, I'm going to just take courses and
Yeah.
learn code. I don't know what language. I don't know if Solidity is the best way to go, or it seems like Rust is a big thing, but we'll see. It's very hard to learn anything when you're old and you have kids.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Well, I'm
I'm
not
not
that
the
old and
average.
I don't
I'm
have.
not the average
I'm-
age of a dev. Like the average age of a dev is probably like 29, 27, whatever. But
But
anyway,
that's.
I'm gonna end
Yeah,
this.
you
I'm
want
gonna end
to
this.
drop? Bye bye. Yeah,
I
next
gotta.
week we do it because we didn't do the how to not lose money in crypto and all of the.
We didn't do
Yeah,
any of that. Yeah, we're not gonna do that ever. But um,
I think it was
that's it.
very solid about the whatever we talk.
We talked about grifting community pools again.
Yeah, that was probably the best discussion ever.
It always is. It always is, because it's only between us. You can't engage those partaking in the grift.
And this is also the largest Cosmos podcast channel in the Cosmos. Well, this is the largest podcast channel in Cosmos ecosystem. I want everyone to know that.
I think that if we do this weekly, we'll eventually get sponsored by Kajira, and then maybe I could have some Kajira tokens like Tankus.
Let's make it grow. Let's make it large, and we're gonna get sponsors. 2 channels. I just hit 5,000 subscribers. You also need to step up the game, but it requires posting. But you have a lot of Twitter followers. This is streamed on Twitter. Bull market hits. We're gonna get like 100 regular viewers.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I agree. Sunday morning, you've got your beer, I've got my coffee. It's just like The View, but crypto.
Yeah. If we get like 6,000 a month, 3,000 each, that will be solid. Well, that's not much for many people, but I would be happy to get free $3,000 to have a beer with Joe.
Of course, absolutely. No, I would pay that, and so would some of these community pools. But anyone that's watching from the end, they're going to rewatch from the beginning. I recommend skipping the first like 12 minutes at least. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but it wasn't good. Oh, we're talking about Native American.
We're not popular today, is it? I have only 8 watching. We've been dropping because it doesn't view like how much watching you 4.
6, but it was just 8, and it doesn't matter.
And it's 8 on mine.
The last one got a lot of views on YouTube for the rewatch, so interesting.
Yeah,
just like The View.
That's
what I'm going to put. That's what I'm going to put on the next thumbnail. The View of crypto.
Did you get that book, Flowers for Argonon? That I finished it,
no,
and I cried. I
didn't think about it. I found my fishing license last week, and I still haven't gone fishing. I gotta go fishing. But if it stops raining today, I might go because it's actually good to fish in the rain.
You eat the fish you catch?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I would like to if they're big enough. Yeah, you keep them all, but yeah. But that's it. Yeah, remember, 1337 Society will dig us out of this bear market.
Hit the like button. Every single person that is here must absolutely hit the like button.
It's the least that you can do. The worthless community, the community that gets in the way of these devs dumping. So anyway, next week we'll do the same thing, same time.
Yes, total. I want to do it every week. Every week.
Okay, cool. All right, sounds good for me.
Take care. Bye-bye.
No, I did not flash my address on screen.